So you get that now. All right. Well, hi. Happy Thursday. Welcome to the Spring 2025 General Info Series session for our online MBA program. We'll go over some really great information tonight, and we'll discuss everything that there is online MBA. So my name is Krista Serafini. I am the Associate Director of Student Success here, and I am here with one of our Student Success Managers, Kiana. So if you have any questions, please drop it in either the chat or the Q&A, and we'll be able to help you. All right, so a little bit about what we will be going over tonight. So this program overview of our online MBA, some of the program benefits, support services for our students, networking opportunities, career assistance. You will have the opportunity to meet some of our current students and discussing kind of next steps and what would be needed for you to move forward. All right, so I'm going to turn this over to Kiana.
So jumping into the program and what it's designed to provide, right? So the MBA program is designed to produce graduates who understand the functional areas in business, and can think strategically, act practically, and communicate effectively while exhibiting strength of character. Character is a really big deal for us here at Wake Forest. And so graduates of the program are going to be able to understand the purpose of business as well as the benefits to society that businesses can provide. Also, identify and define business challenges and opportunities and be able to articulate them to stakeholders. And then also work effectively with others to create actionable plans and to create value. And then demonstrate ethical behaviors in organizations. I think it's also very important to know that building, expanding, and sustaining a network of people is really important. And that's what you'll be able to achieve, as well as being able to collaborate with a wide range of people. We have a huge alumni network. Just as an example, be able to manage time and be able to prioritize assignments, to be able to solve complex problems, right? And work in a team. So yeah.
All right, thank you. So with our online Master of Business Administration, we do have the ability for you to customize your learning with concentrations. So we do have 5 concentrations that our students can choose from. So we do have business and analytics, which bridges that gap between data and business. How do you utilize that data to make decisions? Strategy and leadership, which will focus on, those management skills, decision making, negotiation, finance, which will help you build that expertise to be able to manage risk, analyze investments, project management, which will give you the skills to plan, execute, and manage projects, and then digital marketing, which focuses on the different digital channels. How do you analyze that consumer data? How to create targeted marketing strategies. So these are options that you can choose, or if you do not want to choose one concentration, you can utilize courses in these concentrations within your electives. So it is a customized option for you.
So let's talk about how the program is structured. So the online MBA is a total of 45 credits. It takes an average of 28 months to complete, so it's a little over 2 years. There are a total of 18 courses. Out of those 18 courses, 15 are your core courses, and then you have 3 that are your concentration courses or like your elective courses. The cost of the tuition is just under 70,000. It's 69,975 is what it comes to. The textbook costs average about 300 per semester. And there are 7 semesters in the entire program. So, just to kind of give you some perspective, 300 by 7 semesters, you're looking at around 2,100 for books. As it relates to the course structure, the program is exclusively online, so you never have to go into a campus. While we do have most of our, or a lot of our students do like to go into the campus, especially if they are local. So you are free to, go to the library and jump into the campus just as any other student. So the way that we have it set up is you have, as I mentioned earlier, there are a total of 7 semesters in the program. And so our semesters are 15 weeks long. And the way that it's set up is it's broken into two. So you have kind of like a session A and a session B, if you will. So you take 1 or 2 courses for a period of 7 weeks, and then you get a week break, and then you jump into another 7 week session, right? And that would end your semester, just to kind of give you an idea of how that looks. Um, and so, in addition, you are going to have deadlines for each module, and our academic week, it runs Monday to Sunday. So you have basically like a 7-day window to do what you're assigned to do.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. And so some of our program benefits, right? So when we built the online MBA and what we wanted to create our curriculum with, right, is we wanted to first make sure that we had practical knowledge, right? Our professors are industry connected, market connected, so that you're learning the most up to date and you're being competitive. What you learn today, we want you to utilize tomorrow, right? So that gain that immediate ROI. You do get personalized attention, starting with a student success manager like Kiana. She will be with you from day one until you graduate. And then we do have different academic and career support services. So you need a study group. We have things like career ambassadors. We want to make sure that you are still connected, even being online.
So, as Krista was sharing, you have dedicated student success managers such as myself. Um, Unlike other schools where their model may be something like you have an enrollment advisor. Once you're enrolled, then you get, kind of transferred over to an academic advisor. And then sometimes you even have like a third person you may work with. Well, our model is a little bit different. So we are with you from start to finish. And our goal really is to be there for you every step of the way. We are your shoulder to cry on. We are your cheerleader. We are there to provide you with resources, right? Anything that you need, we are a phone call away, a text away, an email away. And one of the big things about us is that we work together. So, even though I may be your dedicated student success manager, my colleagues are able to assist you just the same. We are a team, we are a family. And so you have your student success managers for ongoing support. In addition to that, we have what we call student ambassadors, right? And so you have the opportunity to connect or to pair with students who are currently in the program and or students who are alumni. And they are also there to answer any questions that you have. For example, I had someone recently who is a resident and at a hospital, and she wanted to connect with someone who is also a resident or has been a resident, to know if she would be able to handle the workload. And so we were able to pair her with someone who previously was a resident, and now they're connected. So our student ambassadors are great, and we hold them near and dear to our heart.
Awesome. Thanks. So speaking of student success managers, and again, that first line support, we do have the lovely Kiana, and this is our family. So we do have Stephanie, Alexander, and Ariel. We are all here, and yes, like Kiana said, you may have Kiana as your student success manager, but if she is out of the office, all of us will help. So just wanted to introduce you to the team here. All right, Kiana.
So, talking a little bit about networking opportunities. This is like one of my favorite topics here because that's one of the things that we're really well known for is networking. And so without like having a good time, I'll kind of, try to keep it brief. But one thing that we have available is the Wake Network. And the Wake Network is really like a vast database of deeks, right? And it is a searchable directory where you're able to find alumni of a particular program or of a particular industry and have the ability to connect with them. So it's a really awesome resource. And we have over 80,000 alumni. So it is huge. Deacon Weekend, right? So Deacon Weekend is wow. So every year in September, we host a weekend filled with fun and events. And we have students who fly in from all over the country and from all modalities. So from the hybrid, from the in-person, and of course from the online. And we have things like tailgates. It is a structured weekend. We attend football games, baseball games. We provide food. We have a host hotel that you can stay at nearby. But it is an awesome opportunity to connect with some of the staff, the faculty, and it's just a really great and popular weekend to network. And then we also offer a global immersion opportunity. It is a program that we host every year. Generally, it is in March, and that usually falls during spring break. But essentially, what it is it's a experiential learning experience, right? Where you have the opportunity to travel abroad. It is students who travel abroad will meet business leaders. They will meet with local businesses. They will do case studies, be a part of lectures, things of that nature. It is considered like a course, so it is a structured course where you actually do things as you would in the classroom. In addition, this upcoming spring semester, we have students who are having the ability to travel to Iceland and to Ireland. And then there's also Dubai and Athens, Greece. So people get really excited, and those are the opportunities that we have right now going on for global immersion.
Thank you. All right. So career assistance, right? Being a student here in our online MBA, what kind of career assistance could you be interested in? So you do have access to the Center for Market Readiness and Engagement on the website portion of it. You'll be able to see job search resources, resume tips, LinkedIn tips, right? Things that can help you no matter where you are in your career. And then there's also the ability to connect with a career ambassador. So these are alums that want to speak with people, which we love. So if you have any questions about reviewing your resume or maybe getting into that industry knowledge aspect or insight on a specific organization or company, we have people that have volunteered that want to speak with you. So I believe that those two things are really special that you can have access to once you become a student. So great. All right. Well, thank you, Kiana. We're going to let you pause for a moment because my favorite part is happening now, which is meeting some of our current students. So we do have two current students on the line. We have Stephen Easter and Michael Burnside. So Stephen, if you would like to unmute, maybe introduce yourself real quick. We'll start with you.
Hello, my name's Stephen Easter. I got about 1 week and I've completed my first year at Wake. Can't believe it. It's kind of went fast and slow at the same time.
Thank you. Thank you. And Michael.
Then, hi everyone. My name is Michael Burnside. So I started the program online in May of 2023. So almost to that final year, a little over a year and a half. I grew up in Tennessee, but I currently live in Arkansas, working for a Walmart vendor. But anyways, excited that you all are interested in the program.
Thank you. I'm very excited to have you both here. One of the things when we speak with prospective students is they have a lot of questions on how do we do this. So I did compile some of the questions that seem to pop up mostly. And if you could give us some of your insights, that would be great. I do want to kind of start from the top, which is why did you choose Wake Forest? And what have you enjoyed most about your experience thus far in this program? So Michael, since you're still in the box, want to start off with that one?
Sure, let's do it. So I chose Wake Forest. I was looking around at a handful of schools. I always knew I wanted to get my MBA. But living in Arkansas, there were some good schools local in the area, but I also wanted to look more like outside as well. And the online option that Wake Forest offered was a perfect balance of a really strong education reputation, in my opinion, and it also had some good financial aid benefits and scholarship opportunities, like when I started going through the process. And as I started connecting with my student success manager, just made the process really seamless. And from there, I was like, okay, I think Wake Forest is the place. And then since then, I've been really pleased.
Awesome, great. And Stephen, why did you choose Wake Forest?
Well, I'm a North Carolina native, so everybody who grew up in North Carolina knows about Wake Forest and the kind of prestige that comes with it. But for me, as I was looking around, I knew I wanted to get my MBA, and I've been looking at a few other schools. And then I kind of started looking at Wake Forest and the motto, Pro Humanitate, for humanity. I actually got chills now if you knew it. It was something about being they're searching for more to find purpose in what you do instead of just doing it. And then from there, I was just kind of immersed into it.
Thank you. So, how would you describe your faculty members in your program and the impact that they've had on your educational journey? And we'll go back to you, Stephen.
Well, so one of the best experiences I actually get to have every semester is the getting to know you part of the class. So one of the things I like to do since it's online, and I've done a lot of online learning as well as in person, but I like to set a meeting at usually that first week, usually within the first couple days with the professor whenever they're available, and just kind of get that one-on-one touch, kind of understand the expectations, but you kind of put a face and a voice and a personality to who's your kind of relatively like your future boss, for the next 7 weeks. But I think that's kind of my like the one thing about it, and they're always so willing. That is what has been impressive to me is they always are happy to do recurring meetings, and then they're always wanting to talk about other things than what's just the assignments. The the value they find in educating people has been superb to me, in my opinion.
Awesome. All right, Michael, how would you describe the faculty members so far?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed the faculty that I've had in the program so far, especially there at the very beginning in those first courses. It was very clear that they had a lot of professional experience. Most of the professors I've had in the program are still actively doing something in the professional world. And if not, they're very fresh off of like being a leader within a company or something like that. And by doing that, they're able to know things outside of just the textbooks. Like they have the real business advice that they can provide on how to connect things to the coursework. And just that level of expertise has been, yeah, it helps with the student learning so much more than just focusing on what's in the textbooks. And I've really enjoyed that.
Great. All right. So I think this might be like the number one question that as student success managers get, but what strategies or techniques are you using to effectively manage your time to meet your deadlines for your schoolwork, right? You have many things happening in life. So do you have any good tips, Michael?
Yes. So I'll be honest, this was actually one of my biggest questions coming along as well. It certainly is intimidating when you try to do a new program like this, especially when we're designed for full-time working professionals. I like to keep an agenda. I mean, and everyone can kind of do the same thing. I like to cross things off the tasks that I have for a given week off the list. after I get them complete. But also the learning management system Canvas is really helpful, like looking at what the modules are for the week, making a plan, and also keeping in touch with other students. I made a few friends in the program that are going through the same course load that I am, and we can kind of keep up to date with how each other are doing with the week. Talk about any homework questions we may have, and kind of discuss the concepts together. But finding that support network and also just keeping yourself grounded on getting a little bit done each night is much better than waiting until the weekend. It kind of goes without saying, but sometimes it's hard to remember that. But like doing and kind of whittling away at the week of the modules actually makes it much more balanced than I ever thought it would have been at the very beginning.
Yeah, I love that. I've always shared create a plan and make it adaptable. I think we sometimes are a little too hard on ourselves. If you have to change things around, you change things around. Stephen, what kind of strategies and techniques do you use?
Well, we were just talking about this prior. I have a whiteboard that I kind of go by, and to kind of build on what Michael said on Canvas. So the modules for each week are broken down. So something I like to do every Sunday, whether it's early in the morning or it's afternoon or it's sometime in the evening, I always come back here to my office and I look at the module. Especially for Sundays, you try to unplug, and reboot before the week comes. And I list out on the board what I have assignment wise. And then I kind of figure, well, this is going to take me 3 or 4 hours and this is just do this and this. And then I kind of whittle away with it. I like to do at minimum, I'd say an hour a day of something, and that could be printing off the PowerPoint slides that I'm gonna write on as I'm watching some of the lectures, or if it's do a little bit of research, so I have some articles and references that I'm gonna something every day. Not only does it lighten the workload throughout the week, you're not overwhelmed, which happens at times. We get busy, and sometimes you need 3, 4, 5 hours in a sitting. It's part of life. But by doing that, I've noticed also I don't have gaps in trying to remember, okay, what were we talking about last Wednesday? Because I'm continuously building on it. And it's made for a very smooth process for the first year, to be honest with you.
Awesome. Yes. We did have a really great whiteboard talk before this webinar. Didn't want to, spoil the surprise. However, it is on my holiday wish list now. So the final question is, to what extent have you been able to apply the knowledge and skills acquired from the curriculum to your, professional endeavors or even everyday life? So do you want to start off, Stephen?
Yeah, I can. So a couple semesters, or not, it was in the summer, I took a course, it's marketing management. I don't have the creativity to be a marketing manager, but it's essential to understand it. And throughout that course, I started looking at commercials differently. It was the weirdest thing how you could start to see how the commercials designed and who it's targeting and what it's for. And the same thing now, I'm in a managerial economics class, and to get the understanding of what it means that everybody faces trade-off, which is the first principle of economics, but to really understand what that means in a global aspect where it comes all the way back to me here in Calabash, North Carolina, where I live. So it's kind of opened my eyes and the way I'm viewing things. It's you see the reasoning behind things just from the education we're going. So it's interesting. And then each class kind of builds on itself where you're referencing things prior, even when you didn't think that it would. So bridging those gaps and building kind of a tower of information and knowledge is I think it's been the greatest portion of it so far.
Awesome. All right. And Michael, how have you, been able to utilize what you've been learning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I studied engineering in undergraduate school, and I work a career in supply chain management, which I guess you could say is kind of industrial engineering-esque or engineering adjacent. So I came in with not a whole lot of business expertise, especially had some gaps in like financial management and accounting. So I'll start with those. When I started learning about like days sales outstanding as I'm just throwing out a random metric, and I realized, oh, we've actually been talking about this at work, and I kind of understood what it meant, but I didn't really understand why it was important for the business world and the work we were talking about that day. But once I heard about that in the class, I was able to see and connect the dots on something like a financial term that I'd heard but didn't really understand the significance of. Another one that really stands out to me is taking a business law class. That was one that was completely foreign to me. I had not had any, of course, had not gone to law school and still haven't, but having just some basic exposure to like what kind of legal issues do companies deal with, and in the business world, how should you go about handling those, especially if you're not one of the lawyers, but you kind of learn how to talk to other people in your company who may be in other functions. And even if you just kind of have a jack of all trades understanding of what they do, you can still hold a conversation with others who do a different job altogether than you could before. And that's been one of the greatest value points for me.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you. Well, we will have some time if you have any additional questions for our current students here to kind of round us out. Kiana, you're up again. I just wanted to go over kind of what your next steps would be.
Yeah, so how do you get started? So, of course, right, the first step is to complete an application. And so there are a few things that we look for in your application. One is a copy of your resume. And then also, we do require you to have at least two recommendations. We don't require a formal recommendation letter. Our system prompts you to enter in two people, the information of two folks, and we prefer to have at least one colleague and maybe a manager, supervisor, or maybe like a professor. And so our system will send them that recommendation. They answer a few questions and then it comes back to your application. So outside of your resume and the recommendations, we do require you to submit a copy of your unofficial transcripts. And of course, it must show your GPA and your degree and award date. And then also we don't require GMAT or GRE scores for entry into the program, but we do have certain requirements for acceptance that the committee does look for. So those would be the next steps for acceptance into the program.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. So we did a decent amount of talking. Do we have any questions? So we can put them in the chat. You can use the Q&A, and you could ask either myself, Kiana, Stephen, Michael. We are all here. All right. So we do have a question. I'll read it out loud, and Kiana, you want to answer? Awesome. So what is the time commitment for the MBA program? I.e., how many hours should students set aside for coursework each week? And utilizing some of those strategies that were shared by Michael and Stephen. So
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and answer the first part, and perhaps Stephen and Michael, you can jump in. Traditionally, we like for students to dedicate at least 25 hours to 30 hours a week on schoolwork. Now, there are times where you may take two courses simultaneously, so that may shift a little bit. It may go up a little bit. But I will definitely allow Michael and Stephen to share, as they've actually experienced it so far.
I can go ahead and start. What I've found, and rather than giving an absolute number to it, because there is such variability, what I've found the program does is if you have a solid plan, I kind of do the same thing that Steven said on Sundays, get a solid plan of what the module looks like and kind of lay that out for what the week can look like to make it as balanced as possible because you still do have a life. I find that the program replaces some things like TV. Like for example, like I may not be able to watch my favorite TV show that given week or that day. However, like you can still, like, of course you do your full work day, but then you can still make time if you have a good solid plan for social obligations or family obligations to go out and still like live your life. It's not like it becomes all consuming. I mean, you certainly do have to have a plan, and I know I didn't give an absolute number because it's so variable, but there are great routes to make it more balanced than you might think.
Michael, I kind of agree with you on that. It's hard to really pinpoint a number, because I mean, at the end of the day, it is grad school and you are getting your MBA, but at the same time, it's more than doable, and it's about the effort that you kind of. So for me, we do a lot of case studies you read for classes, and they're not very long. So sometimes during lunch, you see here, I got paper and a highlighter. I'll be eating my sandwich or something, and I'm reading through, I'm kind of skimming, and you're doing stuff like that, and it's shaving off time that would otherwise be me playing on my phone. And then with the TV shows, there's streaming services now, so I mean you can watch them without commercials anyway. So that's kind of the way to go with it. But it varies. I mean, there's with the two classes, it can be busy, but again, with proper time management, it's very achievable, and you still have time. I like to play sports and go to the gym and things, so I do that daily, and it doesn't affect that at all.
Agreed.
Great, thank you. That was a great question. Do we have any other questions? Yes, we do. All right. Thank you for sharing the tuition and textbook costs for the program. I was curious about scholarship opportunities and other financial aid options to pay for school. So we'll go back to Kiana with that one.
Yeah, thank you for your question. So we do have sort of an in-house scholarship opportunity that we offer. Um, so be it needs-based or merit-based, when you're applying, the committee will review, all of the above, right? They're looking at the whole application package. One of the things I always recommend for students to do or for candidates to do is to write. I encourage them to write an essay, 1 page, 2 page, no particular prompt, but one that can speak to, why would they like to have a scholarship, or perhaps they'd like to share some, personal things, or that's an opportunity for you to share some of the things that you've done in your life, be it leadership, volunteer, things of that nature. So we do have a scholarship opportunity. You're more than welcome to select the box in the application, and once you've been accepted, that acceptance letter will show that you have been approved for a scholarship, and it will tell you the amount. The amount does vary from candidate to candidate. As far as ways to pay for school, so we do accept federal financial aid as an option. In addition to that, we do accept tuition assistance. You can utilize tuition reimbursement. Your employers will offer these benefits. You just have to check in with your HR department and see, what all is available to you. But we do accept both tuition assistance, tuition reimbursement, and then we are a yellow ribbon school, so we welcome our vets. That is another option. And then on top of that, we do have payment plans. So you are able to create a payment plan with our student financial services and do that. Or you can do a combination of things, a little financial aid, a little out of pocket, a little scholarship, whatever works for you. Our student financial services department is really great with coming up with a solution to be able to make it work.
All right, thank you, thank you. Really great questions. How do I do it and how do I pay for it? So top questions there. Do we have any other questions? If not, I always like to ask the student success manager, which is Kiana, what is the number one question you get every time you speak to most of our prospective students? Is there one question that comes to mind that maybe on the minds of anybody else here?
You know, I think those are the questions that were just asked were actually the more common ones that I receive. Scholarship opportunities, how long is the program, for example. Another question that I get, I think, is, am I able to finish this sooner, right? Because people are like, wait a minute, 2.5 years, I don't know. So that's another question that we do get, and the answer is we are a lockstep program. So essentially, who you start with is, probably who you're going to finish with, and you are going to have to take the courses as they are structured. There may be like a little leeway in there, but essentially, you're looking at around that 28-month time period in order to finish the program.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you all for coming out tonight and watching our webinar. Thank you for the questions that were asked. Thank you, Michael and Stephen, for being here on a Thursday night to share your insights. So if there are no other questions, feel free to leave, but we'll be on if you do have any questions, and have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you guys for participating and jumping into the webinar.
Thank you for having me.
Likewise.
Yes, thank you. All righty. All right, awesome. Well, thank you all again. So we're good. So have a great evening. Thanks.
You too. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.